Mercedes CLS founded an own class, a large sedan in a coupe style. Now the facelift is available and there are slight alterations at the front, at the rear and also in the interior, and there are new engines. And we are taking a look at these changes here today and what still makes the CLS that classy. One of the literal highlights are the new headlights, not only because of the new form. The new ones are called multi-beam and they consist of 24 light-emitting diodes. And they are activated or deactivated one by one. So when you got a clear road, everything is illuminated for better vision. And when the car is facing towards you, some of them are deactivated, that the other car is not blinded by the light. And we're taking a better look at it later on when it's dark. So getting to start now. We see the rear camera with a surround view, which is a very nice feature. It is of course faked, we don't have a bird flying around there or a drone, but it's a very nice feature. And for example, when we hear these parking boxes here now, I can see exactly how to go in. This is really a good help, especially when you got a large car. What do you think about that? And now getting to real driving, the new steering wheel, I really like it, especially here with the wooden inlet. That's an optional feature. And I think, in my opinion, the steering is directer than in the pre-facelift version. I think the pre-facelift lacked a bit of direct steering, especially for sporty sedan coupe, and this one is better here now. What else do you directly realize? Well, you realize that you do not realize the automatic transmission. This is a new 9-speed transmission and it's so smooth. You hardly hear any shifting process, you don't really feel it. This is just flawless. What we're driving here now is the CLS 250. There is one new diesel available for Europe that's even smaller, the 220. The small one delivers 170 horsepower, but already 400 Newton meters of torque. The 250 here is a little bit stronger. However, it is not that kind of a sporty machine. For such a heavy car, you usually need more power. So I would go for a CLS 350 diesel if you want a really sporty approach. If you're okay with fuel saving, and that is actually working here, then you're also satisfied with that one, but you shouldn't expect too much power. You can turn it into a sport mode, however, then you got more torque and already when you push the throttle a little bit. There are a lot of changes you cannot see on the outside. About 1000 parts have been altered. Some of them are also used in other models, and that's why there are cost savings, which will making the facelift even cheaper than the previous model. So let's take a detailed look at the design. In the front you see that the headlights got another swing here, an additional swing, and in my opinion this accounts for the Asian customers mainly, because they like these swinging lights. The front grille is also new and got these black diamond structures when you look at them in detail. One of the main arguments for the car is the coupe line, and of course you really have to keep that. The changes to the back are also minor, but what is very important, when you look at it from the side, you see that the lower end is kind of a bit longer than the upper end, and that creates a very special form. We got some new elements here design-wise in the interior. For example, the steering wheel here with the wooden inlet, which is very beautiful. And you see this new Mercedes style here with aluminium. And they try to cover gaps in the design. As you can see here, the dark wood veneer kinda has an overlay. Therefore you don't see the gap which is underneath there. On top of the classic analog clock is the new 8-inch TFT screen. This is completely new. I'm not sure why they made it that big, because okay, the screen is big, but you see the surrounding. You could have saved some space here if you just would have made it slimmer, but I think they wanted it to fit to the air vents below then. Like always, the basic seat setup is done at the side of the doors, and the detail function of the seats you can find inside the screen. And you can, for example, add more side support or less, support for your lower back, and you can activate and deactivate it. The sides are kind of supporting you while driving, depending on the curve you do. And you can also use the massage function, and this is very interesting because you got either a relaxing one, an activating one, a classic one, or a mobilizing massage. And I especially love this one because this refreshes your whole back. It starts at your lower back and goes slowly up and kind of activates it again. In general, these seats are as comfortable as they look. You got the seat cooling here, therefore you got the perforated structure inside the seats, and they just welcome the driver for long travels. And that's also the advantage of this big sedan 4-door coupe. Although they look great, we cannot recommend the back seats. You got limited headspace and also limited space for your knees. Even if this kind of small gap here helps you to get along a bit better, still tall persons don't find space here. I do not like the trunk system because look at it, it really jumps up quite fast. It looks rather cheap. And then there's just a small hole to put your stuff in, but you can load long things at least. This is also again quite cheaply done. And also when you try to close it, don't press the issue too much, it jumps open again, so you really don't have to be gentle with it. What I do love about the CLS is this very smooth ride. You got the air suspension in here now, and so a long trip is nothing. You can just sit down and go all the way. It's really like riding a carpet. And in my opinion, this is still the superior feature of the CLS. You got this superior ride, you are above all things, and you just feel classy in this car. It is rather a car for two persons, I must say, even though it's quite long. Rear passengers won't be that satisfied when they're quite tall. We've already shown you that. But I think this is also not mainly the target group. If you want more space in the rear and especially also in the trunk, there's also the CLS shooting brake, which was also kind of renewed. It's now here with the facelift. This spectacular light show is just for you always when you open the car. A very nice emotional feature. The lights are turning in the curves, and there's this special feature for the high beam, and it can actually form a kind of tunnel you can see here in the demonstration. So a car that is driving in front of you is not blinded. At each start the LEDs are initialized, seen here at the wall. So to conclude about the new Mercedes CLS facelift, Well, the changes in the exterior were rather minor, but the interior, I think, I really like it because it is cleaner than before, even cleaner than before, and that is always good for a very nice design. I also like the new engines because they are more fuel saving and also give you more power. The headlights are one very special thing. Well, you can argue about it if you really need it, but I mean, there have to be some features that are emotional and also add safety at the same time, even if they're not that important. So, what do you think about the new Mercedes CLS facelift? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching and we'll see us next time.